Every character played by the same actor is now part of one continuous story. Which actor has the best story arc? I would like to see how Josh Brolin went from some kid in a group of other kids to a big purple intergalactic super alien who wiped out half the universe to a time-traveling assassin. Don't forget the part where he moves to 1980s Texas, gets killed over a briefcase of drug money, gets better and becomes governor in the 90s, followed by becoming president. Hugh Jackman, because as Wolverine he could conceivably live a different life across different time periods. I want to see Wolverine fighting in the French Revolution and singing about it. And then later open up a freak show, only to become Duke of Albany, traveling to the future, and falling in love with a marketing executive, before inventing the elevator. Bill Murray, with Groundhog Day ending very differently each time. This one makes the most sense, since every Bill Murray character is just Bill Murray. In the most wholesome timeline, Bill Murray fulfills his dream of being a professional basketball player. I love thinking that there's a continuity between Jim Halpert and Jack Ryan. It's the universe where Pam never wanted to leave Scranton. After the show ended, Jim felt trapped, but the CIA had been watching his antics with Dwight for years. They saw how he could anticipate his enemy, read them almost as well as a precog. All he had to do was sign off on never seeing Pam, Pee-Pee, or the other kid again. Jeff Goldblum. It'd mostly be just a bunch of Jeff Goldblums together, and I'd pay to see that. They'd be gathered on Sakaar by the Grand Master because he likes to have like-minded people around him. And the Jeff from the world, according to Jeff Goldblum, he's juicy normal Goldblum. Hi, I'm Chef Goldblum. Gary Oldman, punk rocker to prime minister by way of a presidential assassin, an immortal vampire, a famous composer, a Russian terrorist, a dwarf and a wizard. Don't forget Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg, as whom he tried to steal the fifth element from Lost in Paradise in service to the great evil. I love how his and Bruce Willis's character never once meet in that movie. I don't know that they even know the other exists. The fact that the protagonist and the antagonist of the movie never physically face each other in anyway is such a ridiculous, but somehow low-key, concept. You don't realize it unless you purposely think about it. Sir Christopher Lee, he had one hell of a career. Gotta love how Scaramanga went from being a vampire to a golden assassin that eventually becomes a combo of very old and very deadly Sith, who after being killed becomes a wizard in the afterlife before being sentenced to rot in his tower. Unless you watch the special director's cut where he falls into a spike. Book. Saruman dies after Wormtongue slashes his throat in the Shire at the end of the War of the Ring. I'm really curious how Luke Skywalker ends up a supervillain in Gotham. Well, after he failed to kill Kylo Ren, Luke began a tour of planets as the darkness in his heart grew. Arriving on a planet called Earth, he begins his final descent to the dark side. Earth would never be the same. Everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. And then years later, after Aang defeats him, he oversees the council trying to take down Deathclaw. Christian Bale races cars and scams politicians, then makes his money on Wall Street, becomes Batman, and finally is the vice president. Don't forget Empire of the Sun and Newsies, or his serial killer days. From Bateman to Batman. Leonardo DiCaprio has a hell of a story. First he is a petty thief in Titanic, then steals $4 million in Catch Me If You Can, brings in beer during Prohibition as Gatsby, then $200 million in a scam in Wolf of Wall Street. So, clearly all the same character who is getting better as a criminal as time goes on. drowns from the Titanic, wakes up on the subconscious shores of Inception. Freezes after Titanic to wake up inside a wolf skin. Don't forget he overcomes autism as a young boy. What's eating Gilbert Grape? Wild, crazy ride, Johnny Depp. Sweet, so Raoul Duke, Rango, Gilbert Grape, Tonto, Edward Scissorhands, the Mad Hatter, and Jack Sparrow are all escaping on a boat from Sweeney Todd and Grindelwald. Meanwhile, Burton's Johnny Depp characters visit the Willy Wonka's factory. It will be so messed up. Patrick Stewart. He rises to power, becoming king in the 1600s. Hundreds of years later, he develops amazing psychic abilities and opens up a school for other gifted people like him, only to become captain of the Enterprise centuries later. And millennia after that, as an escaped slave serving Duke Atreides. Mood is a thing for cattle and women. Boy, not fighting. He knows about the spice melange. Inner monologue whispering, shit, I forgot he was in Dune. Dang. So Doctor Strange is actually secretly Sherlock Holmes. Huh. Edit. My first ever Reddit silver. And there are 2 of them. Thank you all so much for making me feel better on my sick day. So is Iron Man by that logic. Discombobulate. He managed to be a detective, a playboy, and a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. Tom Kenny, SpongeBob SquarePants, Ice King, CatDog, and all the cartoon characters from kids from the mid-90s early O grew up with. Edit. I know he's done a lot more voices and still does them, but I can't list them all. SpongeBob and Gary and Ice King and Gunter all at once? Him and John DiMaggio together. JD being Jake and Bender. Algebraic. Sigourney Weaver, hands down. Well, Brad Pitt continuously gets younger as he travels through space, joins a fight club, robs a bank, and fights zombies. If that's not interesting, I don't know what is. Don't forget fighting for Agamemnon, sorta, and commanding a World War II tank crew. Natalie Portman. She starts out as an assassin's apprentice in The Professional, then she travels across the universe and back in time to become the leader of Naboo in Star Wars. After giving birth to the heroes who will go on to save the galaxy, she then travels across the universe and forwards in time to Britain to get caught in a revolution in V for Vendetta, before becoming a ballet dancer in Black Swan, and then goes on to meet Thor. Robin Williams. This he ends as a genie with great power. No, it ends with him becoming a robot so he can become a human again and die human. Although maybe he used genie powers to make himself a robot in the first place. So where would Jumanji fit into this? Tim Curry, Dr. Frank, N. Furter, William Shakespeare, Captain Hook, Darkness, Pennywise, Dr. Petrov, Cardinal Ridgely, Long John Silver, Ebenezer Scrooge, Nigel Thornberry, Darth Sidious, and that's like a tenth of his filmography. Bryan Cranston. Just Malcolm in the Middle to Breaking Bad would be iconic by itself. Then on to Godzilla. Then Kung Fu Panda. Sean Bean. Tie him into being a closet Highlander-style immortal. Might work. Pity about the death game over. Sean Bean's conscious jumping to another version of himself in the multiverse upon death. Multiverse Man. Definitely Samuel L. Jackson in his motherfuckerverse. If voice actors and cartoon actors are allowed, it could get interesting, considering how popular voice actors are rehired or could be doing several characters in one show. Tom Hanks. Ever since Disney got rid of their The Great Movie Ride, I thought they should replace it with The Great Tom Hanks Movie Ride. Start out with Walt Disney welcoming you to the ride. Then follow Tom Hanks through an airport terminal, to him flying a plane. Then it crash lands on a volcanic island. Then he finds and captains a boat before it's taken over by pirates. Then a mermaid rescues him. Then they swim to Europe where he fights Germans and 3 different conspiracy terrorists before riding the Polar Express to New York to fall in love with Meg Ryan 3 different times as he runs across the country coaching the Rockford Peaches and managing the Wonders before he takes a rocket to the moon. You did good. It's all just part of Forrest Gump's life story.
Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox.